he's really gone.
Oh, can you hear me?
Nahida!
Traveler, Paimon, Balladeer, what happened just now? I was suddenly cut off by some kind of power.
It was the Balladeer's fault. He shut you out.
You tell Nahida everything that happened.
I didn't think he'd be capable of something like that with so little power left. Did he keep some of his power hidden when he was defeated? Or did he achieve something beyond his abilities, and it took everything he had?
Where the heck did he go? Ugh, it's all our fault. We were supposed to keep an eye on him. Sorry, Nahida.
Don't be. It's not your fault. Please, let me handle this from here, even though I'm not sure I can solve it. We're running out of time. Follow my lead and get out of Irimsul as soon as possible.
Oh, okay, it's just gonna move me.
We're out! And we're at, an inn or something?
Maybe it's an out. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
This is an emergency. I'll have to ask you to stay here for now. Everything's arranged, and nobody will disturb you.
No, I want to help you. Isn't there anything I can do?
I'm sorry, but this isn't something I need your help with. Leave this one to me.
An emergency? How bad is it? Nahida, will you be okay?
Don't worry. If my assessment is correct, though there may be some minor disturbances, it won't lead to a disaster. Please rest and recover your strength here until I say it's safe.
Her voice has gone. Paimon can't shake the feeling that something really big has happened. What do you think the Balladeer meant? And why did he suddenly grab onto you before?
Paimon doesn't remember Greater Lord Rukkhadeva, and the Balladeer's question was a strange one. It's hard to explain in full, and the truth might be distressing for Paimon. I'll skip the part about Greater Lord Rukkhadeva for now, and focus on the Balladeer. You tell Paimon what the Balladeer asked you, and what he might have been planning.
He wants to change the past? But surely that's impossible!
It's not easy, that's for sure.
Right! You can't just rewrite history. All that stuff happened already in real life. It's like, imagine Paimon drank all the water in this inn. Even if no one was there to see it, Paimon would sure as heck remember drinking it.
Yeah, great example.
So, why does Paimon still have a bad feeling about this? Paimon can't help but feel scared about what he might do. Oh, Paimon's so confused.
Maybe he wants to erase himself from history.
Huh?
Paimon, are you okay?
Sorry, Paimon accidentally... It's the Balladeer's fault for causing Paimon all this mental stress. But erasing yourself from history? It's unthinkable. Is that really possible in Irimsul?
Not necessarily, but maybe. I'm just guessing here.
Uh-oh. Paimon's head is overheating from trying to understand what he's up to. And it's still not working. Ugh. Paimon's had it with that little brat. He's been nothing but trouble ever since we met him. There's no way he'll actually succeed, right? Otherwise, won't everyone who's connected to him be affected too?
Indeed, if the Balladeer does erase himself from Irimsul, many people in Inazuma will be effective. I can't imagine what that situation would look like. Worst case scenario, it will affect everyone with a connection to the Raiden Gokuden. Kazuha, Ayaka, Ayato. Will this mean that they'll disappear?
There's nothing we can do about it at this point. Hey, Have you got any ideas on what we should do next? Seems like now there's nothing left for us to do but to go to sleep. But Paimon's still so worried. Paimon won't be able to sleep a wink tonight.
Me neither.
So, how about, we list all our favorite foods to take our mind off things? Heck, if that doesn't work, Paimon's probably gonna collapse of anxiety here. Alright, Paimon will start. First dish. Munstack grilled fish. Oh, and chicken mushroom skewers. Tea break pancakes. Cream stew. Sauteed matsutake. And Dragon chili chicken. Almond tofu. Satisfying salad. Oh, also Adeptus Temptation. Golden shrimp balls. Triple layered consomme. Lotus seed and bird egg soup. And...
Paimon? What's wrong?
What was Paimon supposed to be doing just now? Paimon was, talking? Huh. Paimon suddenly can't remember what she was talking about. What was it again?
You were getting so worried about the situation with the Balladeer that you started listing foods.
The Balladeer? Is that a food too? Huh. Weird name, though.
Huh? Paimon doesn't remember the Balladeer? That must mean he actually pulled it off? But how did he have that ability? This doesn't make sense.
What's wrong? Your eyes are like saucers. Was it something Paimon said?
No, it's nothing.
So, the Balladeer. Is that someone's name? 'Cause it sounds like a nickname or something.
Ugh. If this is really happening, I need to know what else has changed. Paimon, come with me.
Okay, sure. Where are we going?
I want to go back to Inazuma.
Huh? Fine by Paimon, but is everything okay? You're acting like this is an emergency.
Now's not the time to explain. Let's get over there first. Okay, Inazuma trip. Talk to Anome Togo. Oh, that's the smithy dude. This is gonna take a while since we're moving so far. This fucking loading screen's gonna be like actually no, it's gonna be like loading screens don't go burr because they fucking take forever because this game's not optimized. But it wouldn't like unborn people, I don't think. It would just like change, because fucking they erased a whole ass god from Irimsul and everything was still fine. It didn't unborn people. Ayaka, Ayato, Kazuha, they probably all exist in some sort of different capacity. You can only change the information, but not the past itself, I don't think. So it would just give a different sequence of events, unless that was Greater Lord Rukudava's power that preserved it.
Smithy.
Ah, it's been a while.
Pardon me, I'd like to ask a question if I may.
Of course. Go ahead.
About the Raiden Gokuden, could you tell me that story one more time?
No. Now there's a question I wasn't expecting. Very well. I'll tell you what I know once more. The once renowned Raiden Gokuden, comprised of 5 branches. Amenoma, Futsu, Ishin, Hyakume, and Senju. The art of forging practiced by these 5 clans was first taught to them personally by the almighty Shogun. Over time, the 5 branches diverged from one another as generations of bladesmiths honed and perfected their craft until they became 5 distinct traditions. Most of the great swordsmith clans of old have since fallen into decline, And for a long time, only the Amenoma branch kept its art alive. But fortunately, Kaedehara Kazuha recently returned to Inazuma and took up the mantle of the Ishin art. Now, 2 clans remain of the original Gokuden 5. If my memory serves me right, you yourself were present when he forged the Ishin blade.
Oh, yeah, we were! Paimon remembers that now. We learned a bit about the decline of the Raiden Gokuden then, too. It seems like such a shame.
What was the reason behind their decline?
That, my friends, is a tragic tale indeed. In fact, this was not made known to me for most of my life. All these years, I knew of those great clans' demise, but never the cause. Only recently, when the question was on my mind, did I ask Kaedehara Kazuha about this. He told me that, as we are both heirs to a branch of the Raiden Gokuden, it was right that I should know the truth. There is no harm in telling you, but I must warn you. It is a dark and sorrowful tale. The Raiden Gokuden were the targets of a murderous rampage by a vengeful bladesmith.
Vengeful? Why?
400 years ago, so I'm told, there was a catastrophic malfunction in Tatarasuna's furnace. One brave swordsmith heard the commotion and chose not to flee, but he rushed to the scene, hoping to prevent a disaster. Tatarasuna was home to a state-of-the-art forging and smelting operation in that day, and overseeing it was the armory officer. His surname was Niwa, though he had family ties to the Kaedehara clan. Knowing that they had just one chance to save countless lives, Mr. Niwa and the swordsmith leaped together into the furnace. The furnace quickly stabilized, but neither of them made it out. The smith's death, though heroic, dealt a devastating blow to his family's fortunes. His orphan son was left to fend for himself, and grew up deeply resentful at the world. In his heart, the whole of Inazuma was culpable in his tragedy. He hated the almighty Shogun for her apparent indifference towards his father's death, and he hated everyone who had done nothing to try and save him. Powerless and destitute, the only legacy he had to pass on to his children was his hatred. Generation after generation bore this grudge, living in utter misery. Alas, if only the story could have ended there. But 100 years ago, the then head of this family reached the end of his wits. He could bear their fate no longer, and yet he could do nothing to change it. Finally, he made a drastic decision to take revenge on the Raiden Gokuden. In doing so, he sought to vent his pent anger and shake the very foundations of Inazuma's forging industry. In his fury, he murdered indiscriminately, killing even bladesmiths from the Hyakume clan which he belonged to. His goal was absolute, the devastation of all of the Raiden Gokuden. But when he came to the Kaedehara and Kamisato clans, his killing spree came to an abrupt end. He failed to catch them unawares. They fought back fiercely, and they did not spare his life. That is why the Kaedehara clan and their Ishin art survived that day. I suppose they were the lucky ones, under the dire circumstances.
The legend of the Raiden Gokuden has changed. Someone else attacked the swordsmiths. It looks like the Balladeer did something at Irimsul, but it seems Niwa still died.
Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Have you seen Kazuha recently?
Kazuha? Why, yes. Just yesterday, in fact. We spoke for a while over some tea. He seemed well.
So he still exists, and he's still the same Kazuha I know. Things don't seem as bad as I feared last night. That's all. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Don't tell Paimon. There are other places you want to visit too, right? Your expression says it all. You can't hide anything from Paimon. On to the next stop. Lead the way, traveler. Paimon will be right behind you.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, we're going to the Yashiro Commission next, right? That would make most sense. I was really scared like we're gonna show up and we're gonna see fucking NPC Kazuha like he never got a vision or something stupid. Oh.
We're here! This is the Yashiro Commission's headquarters, so...
Traveler, it's been a while.
Hello.
If you're looking for the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I'm afraid your timing is unfortunate. They're not here right now.
Are they out on business?
The Commissioner is out on business, and Miss Kamisato is standing in for some meetings in the Commissioner's place. If it's urgent, you're welcome to wait inside until they get back.
What do you think? Shall we go in?
Thank you. We'll take you up on that offer. Can we take a walk in the courtyard?
If it were anyone else, I couldn't allow it. But seeing as you're so close with the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato, I think it should be okay.
We'll be heading in then. Thanks!
Hello, dears. Is there something you want to say?
Ma'am, can I ask you a couple of questions?
Of course, traveler. Yes, I know who you are. Miss Kamisato has told me about you. What would you like to know?
How are the Commissioner and Miss Kamisato these days?
Oh, they're both very well indeed. Lately, Miss Kamisato has been rather busy attending all kinds of meetings and occasionally paying visits to some local organizations on the Commissioner's behalf. As for the Commissioner himself, well, you know, busy as ever. That much hasn't changed. Although he does seem to be in a rather good mood these days.
So pretty much business as usual in the Yashiro Commission, huh?
A disc!
Very much so.
Ayato is still the Yashiro Commissioner, and Ayaka is still Lady of the House. No changes there. As far as I can see, nothing's changed in the Yashiro Commission either. I was expecting as much, but it's still a big relief to know that the Kamisato siblings are both safe and well.
Well, got any more questions?
That's all for now. Many thanks.
You're very welcome. In fact, I would love nothing more than for you to come and visit more often. But I'm sure you must be far too busy to have time for that. Miss Kamisato talks about you all the time. She seems so thrilled to have you as a friend, and she's always saying how talented you are and how much she admires you. I must say, many things in Inazuma seem to have taken a turn for the better since you arrived here. So you're not just Miss Kamisato's knight in shining armor, you know. You're a hero to us all.
I'm flattered.
I mean it. Whenever the Commissioner dines at home, Toma always joins him. I always find myself at my most relaxed when I'm serving the two of them and listening to them chat away. The Commissioner has such a busy schedule that he doesn't always have the chance to take his meals at home. But given the opportunity, he always prefers to dine here. They say it's because Toma's a much better chef than most. Oh, the Commissioner is so fond of home comforts. They get to talking about you sometimes too, you know. Always with a very fond tone. The way one would talk about dear old friends around whom one can truly be themselves. Miss Kamisato occasionally joins them as well. Whenever the whole family gets together and they start talking about people they've met and experiences they've had, you always get a mention. It's been many years now since the late Mr. and Mrs. Kamisato passed away. Much has happened in the Kamisato clan in that time. As someone who is old and gray enough to have watched their son and daughter grow up, it makes me so happy to see them meet a dependable friend whose company they enjoy so much. So, in the future, if you ever do have the time, please know you are always very welcome at the Yashiro Commission headquarters. There will always be at least one old lady who would be delighted to have the pleasure of your company.
Thank you. The people of the Kamisato clan are very dear friends to me.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Paimon likes it here too. Also, you were saying something about the food here being really great. Paimon's itching to try it. We may just have to invite ourselves around for dinner sometime. Paimon meant we should come pay a visit again real soon. Ideally around dinner time.
Of course. You're always welcome.
Alright, goodbye for now. Where are we going next?
To Tarasuna.
Great! Goodbye, ma'am! Don't worry, we'll see ourselves out.
All right, then. Take care now. Hope to see you soon.
We're not waiting for Ayato and...
Are you two leaving already?
Yep, everything's taken care of now. Don't worry.
Very well. Safe travels. Goodbye.
Hold on, I want... Here we go. Okay. Go to Tatarasuna. A dance of destruction. Interesting. That's not a concerning title at all! I want to talk to the Shogun. What does she remember about her literal son? Oh, Xavier.
Well, here we are. But what are we looking for? Something? Or someone?
Do my eyes deceive me, or is that the Traveler and Paimon?
Xavier? What
Xavier!
are you doing here?
Xavier! What?! Anyway, he has a voice now.
I was in the general area, and now I'm in this specific area. There, that's me. So what about you two?
We have some questions and thought you might be able to help.
Do you know much about Tartasata?
Certainly do. I've researched the furnace here in some depth. If there's anything you want to know, just ask away.
How well do you understand the history of this area?
Like the back of my hand. Make no mistake, I have been here a good many times before. Not only that, but I've met people in Inazuma whose families used to live in Tatarasuna years ago. They said it's all true, the history here.
Go on, I'm listening.
Oh, well, it's a long story, don't you know? The tale of Tatarasuna starts a long time ago. I'm told that its history is one of the most foremost forging and smelting operations in the nation, goes back around 1,000 years. Still, the furnace has had a couple of serious maintenance issues along the way.
A couple? When exactly?
One was just in the last few years, the other was several hundred years ago. A fun fact, I'm not the first Fontaine tech guy to come and work on it either. There was a guy back then too. They say he was a mechanic who consulted on a technology upgrade. It seems like the technological collaboration between our two nations goes back a long way. How about that?
Mechanic, huh? Looks like the doctor still sabotaged the furnace, leading to all the ensuing chaos.
Hey, weren't you gonna ask Xavier something about Tatarasuna? Come on, ask already.
I am.
Oh, I didn't realize you two were here for a history lesson.
Me neither. Paimon doesn't know what's gotten into this one today. Feels like we've been preparing for a history exam or something.
What brought this on? Did you just wake up today with a sudden burning desire for historical knowledge?
Pretty much. So can I just ask one more question?
Sure, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of a kabuki mono connected to Tatarasuna?
A kabuki mono? No, I can't say that I have. I do know the word, Inazuman for those eccentric types who always go around dressed to the nines. Just the sort of person that I'd like to meet, actually. But sadly, I've never had the pleasure, nor have I come across anything to do with a kabuki mono where Tatarasuna is concerned.
So there's no more kabuki mono. Did the Balladeer really manage to erase himself from history completely? If so, he must have wanted to change the world and revert everything back to the way it was. But so far, it looks like the majority of changes have only affected himself. Thank you, Xavier.
Of course! Don't mention it.
Oh, we're leaving? Okay, bye, Xavier.
Oh, you're most welcome. More than happy to help. Farewell.
Looks like you got all the information you're looking for.
Time to go back and see Lesser Lord Kusanali. What about the Raiden Shogun?
Sure, but what's up with you today? Whatever it is, it seems like it's really troubling you. Keep your smile, Spinal Crocodile. No matter what happens, Paimon will always be there for you.
Alright, thank you, Paimon.
Hey, don't mention it. Alright, let's head off and go meet Nahida.
Spinal crocodile. The hell did you just say to me? Okay.
Hey, it's them!
Akaba, Sawada, you're still here?
Are you still talking about the essay?
Indeed we are. If you have a moment, we'd love for you to join us
Do I
once
have to
more.
read this again? I'm gonna fucking die.
We have time. What do you want to
I
talk
don't
to
have
us
time.
about?
It's the same topic we discussed last time. Obviously.
Still looking for more info about Tatarasuna, huh? Should we join them?
Perfect. These two have researched Tatarasuna's past. Let's hear what they have to say.
Unfortunately, we haven't made any real progress.
The article you let me read last time was great. Can I read it again? No!
Oh, of course.
Okay, this part's the same. That part's the same. This part is now lacking mentions of Kabuki Mono. Okay, that's the same. I think that's the same. Okay. There are 7 notes now, and also the mention of the blade dance was removed. Oh, we should have divided. Okay. Okay. Oh, here we go. It's highlighting something new now. A great many of these rumors have revolved around the yokai, who are so very characteristics of Inazuma's folk histories. A small portion, however, repeatedly mentions the word outsider. It should be known that the appearance of such a character, who is suspected to be based on a real person, is a very curious case. This fact drew the attention of researchers to delve further, and eventually the following pieces of information came to light. A foreign mechanic once visited Tatarasuna. Reportedly, the reason for his immigration was to exchange knowledge and forge ties with the locals. However, the mechanic seemed to behave suspiciously, often wandering around essential or restricted areas, and if someone tried to turn him away, they would only earn incomprehensible mumbles from his lips. The mechanic often stared into the furnace, seemingly to check on its condition. Unsettlingly, he also spent a substantial amount of time watching the local residents. Judging from the era, it was not uncommon to see cross-cultural exchanges of technical knowledge in places such as Tatarasuna. After traveling across the tides, foreign experts being welcomed in the region was likely not unreasonable either, yet calamity came not long after this exchange of knowledge, which hints at high potential for causation between these events. However, some current residents believe that these assumptions were merely the results of their forebears' overactive imaginations attempting to theorize how things actually unfolded. Alright, and now of course there's no more Kabukimono. It's been replaced with mechanic. Long have I delved through many texts and documents, but I was ultimately unable to decipher even a specter of a clue as to his background. Still, mentions of the mechanic grew scarcer in the aftermath of the Tatarasuna incident. I speculate that, instead of the mechanic possibly being a figure woven from overripe imaginations, he did actually exist and perhaps even had a hand in the events that took place in Tatarasuna.
I presume you'll want to read mine as well. Here.
Okay. Alright. How goes the forging of your lord's great blade? I see your ears, there's keen your hands. Miyazaki hid his grin. Upon hearing this, Niwa released the lizard from his hand into Katsuragi's palm. But just as more words were to be exchanged, someone came walking nearby, their footsteps steady and confident. The head that appeared by the door was one from abroad. The newcomer placed some lunch boxes to one side, nodded, and made to leave. Katsuragi called out after him, "Sir, what about your meal? Are you not hungry?" The man smiled upon hearing Katsuragi's word. "I already ate. I hope that you, my lords, may also find some time to sate your hunger soon. You are our guest, sir. To see you help in these trifling matters fills me with embarrassment," Niwa said with sincerity. The man smiled as if no matter, then with a nod he departed. Okay, this is the stranger. A foreign mechanic stood next to the coast. Sunset fell into the accompaniment of darkness. The bands of twilight showed themselves not, for in their place did thunderclouds roil, grumbling the omens of a coming rainstorm. Darkness filled the flesh of the sea, and the dusk blade clouds to kneel upon the land, but the man stood uncowed, merely gazing into the distance, radiating bloodthirst. None passed him by, and none knew what he was plotting. Time passed unmeasured and uncounted, till a black cloud suddenly tore free from the sky and began to circle the mechanic, bearing down on him like an omen. He then caressed the darkness mist as if it was a part of his flesh. Outbound, a fishing boat drew near, the lights of its bow flickering in and out of sight beneath the falling sheets of rain. A mist unspooled across the sea, stealing sight from the fisherman. Repeatedly he exclaimed, "It is but dusk. How are my eyes darkened? Is there anyone that can deliver my boat upon safe tides?" Like a falling spear, the black cloud reached the bottom of the boat, and it was joined in its bereftness of direction. Like a charging beast, they plunged into the shoreline, scant steps away. The mechanic laughed, slowly approaching the grand wreck. Not but half an arm was left of the one who had cried out for help, and with a plop it landed at the mechanic's feet, who crouched better to study the object, straining against the urge to take a bite. Yet he did not, for the dark clouds swirling down had already picked up the remnants of the ship clean. Okay, so the first set sail, and then a second ship was sent, followed by a third and a fourth. Each who left to seek salvation did so under foul skies and bleak fortunes. Reason dictated that they should not have risked anyone else, but the situation in Tatarasuna was severe. They needed to gain aid from Inazuma, even should it cost them more lives. Alright. That's it. The content has changed, another effect of tampering with the information in Irimsul. The Balladeer said he'd erased 2 of his names. If he succeeded, it must have taken all his might, but still.
Well, what do you think?
A masterpiece!
Hey, Traveler, remember how last time Akaba was saying how he wished he could gather more information about all this? Well, we just got back from Inazuma, so how about we tell them what we learned?
Sure!
What did you find out? Something big?
It's a long story. Basically, we have some friends in Inazuma, and...
You tell the 2 writers what you learned about the Raiden Gokuden and Totorosun's history.
So many new details. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Well, well. So it all comes down to one man's desire for revenge. Huh. You heard this from a member of the Amanoma clan, you say? Then I guess it must be true. Ugh. So there's no ghost story here after all.
This new information actually lends further credence to my hypothesis. Evidently, swordsmiths were seen as having an incredibly prestigious role in society those days, to the extent that harming them was conceived of, at least by the perpetrator, as a way of exacting revenge against those in power.
Yes, okay, point taken, you were right. But that doesn't mean I can't carry on with my novel.
And they're back at it. These guys are really into this.
We've got some things to take care of. Bye for now.
Oh, so sorry. Look at us, prattling on about our projects and ignoring you. Thank you so much for the information.
You're welcome. See ya.
Keep us in the loop if you find out anything else.
Will do.
Tell me what you know. Oh, my head just clipped through the door. Oh, that was weird. The final frame of that was my head just through a door. You got mind erased too, didn't you? Hey.
Nahida, we're here!
Traveler, Paimon, how have you been?
Ugh, where to start? Paimon hasn't had a moment's rest this whole time. That night, we ended up chatting until suddenly the sun was up. And then she decided she wanted to go to Inazuma.
I was investigating the situation with the Balladeer.
The Balladeer? It sounds like some kind of code name.
Oh no.
You look troubled. Is there something you need to tell me?
Even Nahida doesn't remember. Just like last time, any changes to Irimsul affect her as well. The Balladeer acted quickly. He finished erasing himself before Nahida could stop him. I'm the only thing who still remembers things that were erased. Once again, I am the record keeper.
Traveler?
Hey, what's wrong? You look so upset.
There are things that have happened that only I can remember. I have to tell you the truth. With a heavy heart, you piece back together the story that was broken and scattered across time. There was once one named the Balladeer, created by the Electro Archon. He was a puppet who lived among men. After a series of events in Tatarasuna, the Balladeer, thinking that he had been thrice betrayed, left Inazuma to roam the world beyond. With no trust for humans and only loathing for the gods, he bore his grudge for years as he grew in strength, then returned to Inazuma to take his revenge. He tried in vain to become a deity with a gnosis, and ended up losing everything. Finally, he entered Irimsul and learned the truth behind his betrayal. Knowing now that his entire life was built on lies, he did the unthinkable in an attempt to reverse his tragic fate.
That's quite a story. So, this puppet known as the Balladeer erased himself from Irimsul, hoping that he could change the past.
But how was he even able to do that?
As the traveler said, he very nearly became Sumeru's deity. Admittedly, I remember it a little differently. I don't recall finding anyone inside the machine after we defeated it. Nevertheless, it does make sense. If someone were to successfully erase themselves from Irimsul, the world would change to reflect the new reality.
So, you believe this person really existed, and we just don't remember him because, well, because he literally changed the world?
Yes. Theoretically speaking, it is possible to do this. But I'm struggling to imagine the kind of person who would dare go through with it. The traveler comes from a world beyond to that. That's why there's no information about her in Irimsul, and it also explains why any changes to Irimsul wouldn't affect her. So if there's anyone in the world capable of retaining memories from a past that has been rewritten, it's you. It's quite incredible when you think about it.
You can say that again.
Paimon's having a hard time understanding this Balladeer guy's motivations. Why did he do it?
I can only make inferences based on the information we've been given. As for what kind of person he was, only you remember that.
I'm not really sure. We were enemies after all. I don't know his perspective on all of this, so I can't say why he did something so extreme. Did he want to reset everything, or save someone? Or did he want to completely undo his existence? Everything can be set right. It's time to solve this once and for all. Maybe that's all there is to it. I still remember the question he asked. He asked me, specifically, and my hesitation gave him the answer. I hesitated because I witnessed Greater Lord Rukikudava erase her own existence, but I can't tell Nahida that. To put it another way, I know why the Balladeer was so sure it could work, but I can't tell them that.
Something else worrying you? Something that you can't share?
I just feel empty. He chose such a radical option, and yet...
It couldn't change the fate of the ones who had died, right?
Yes.
Once the Balladeer realized he hadn't been betrayed after all, it must have completely changed his view of the people of Tatarasuna. Now he saw them as friends again. He couldn't keep hating humans after that, and if he thought there was a chance he could save his old friends, it would be hard not to try. The story makes sense, every part of it. The Balladeer tried to achieve godhood with the doctor's help. He was unsuccessful, but retained the power to connect with Irimsul. That power then enabled him to change what was recorded in Irimsul and erase himself, even though he didn't have much strength left.
Yeah, it does make sense, but it still ended in tragedy for his friends.
And now his friends don't even remember him either.
It just feels so hopeless. He gave everything to do this, but it seems like he got nothing in return.
Yeah, he changed the world in many ways, yet the dead still didn't get a second chance. Those fated to a tragic end could not be saved. What exactly did he want to fight back against? The betrayals in his life? Or did he wish he'd never existed at all? Wasn't this voice line already read?
Please wait a moment. I want to check something. Found it. This should be the one.
Oh, cube.
It turns out that I have a strange way of confirming everything she has told us.
What is it?
A record from a personal collection. It was tucked away in a corner. You should take a look.
Surprisingly, the information is presented to you in a way that resembles a fairy tale.
Is this a fairy tale? Who wrote it?
This matches everything I said.
I authored this record myself.
Huh? You wrote a fairy tale that somehow has something to do with the Balladeer?
When combined with the Traveler's narrative, it's clear that this story is an allegory. Everything in it is a symbol for something else.
Hold on. So this record survived from the past?
Yes. Any information about the Balladeer or the Kabuki Mono and other records will have been changed. But I wrote this story in a way that means it was left intact. Changing the information in Irimsul changes to that. But Irimsul can't change information that was well hidden in advance. I guess I must have written this story as a backup before the Balladeer entered Irimsul.
That's incredible! What a great idea!
And sending the Traveler into Irimsul with the Balladeer must have been a further precaution. I knew she'd remember everything. This story is abstract enough that it still resonates with the present information recorded in Irimsul. But if we connect all the different pieces together, the true story that emerges is the one she told us. The now erased life of the Balladeer. There was once a lone monster draped in fox fur. The monster found a family of foxes, joined them, and they became friends. The monster lived with the family day and night, and everyone treated it as one of their own. Once in a while, the monster would take off its fox fur at night and lament to itself as it gazed at its reflection in the water. I am a monstrosity, yet they are too foolish to see it. I pity them. But the monster soon found solace when another came to live among the foxes who was not their kin. A kitten, carved from the wood of a white tree who had been abandoned by the humans. The kitten too wished to become a fox, but its tail was too slender and it could not grow a coat of richly colored fur. Yet when the other foxes saw this, they spoke words of comfort to the kitten. Even without a tail and fur like ours, you are still one of us. Furious at this happy resolution, the monster lit a fire on the mountain. The terrified animals panicked as the fire spread. The only way to extinguish the flames was to make a sacrifice. A gray fox stood up and addressed the monster. It said, "You are the cleverest among us. Surely you can help us find a way to solve this." The monster smiled, led the fox toward the fire, and murdered it. The gray fox's heart was turned into a beautiful drop of water, clear, spotless, and pure. The monster gave the heart of water to the kitten, telling him, "The foxes have decided. You are the one who must be sacrificed. Take this, quench the flames, and die for your fox kin." The fire was extinguished, but the kitten lived. It left that side of the mountain and found a little bird who had a broken wing. The two promised they would spend their whole lives together, but the little bird did not have long left to live. It passed away soon after. After burying the bird, the kitten left the mountain for good. Never again would it cherish a single creature, nor a single blade of grass that stood on that mountain. The kitten spent the nights wandering aimlessly, gnashing its teeth at the moon. How it wished to swallow the moon and devour the moonlight. If the world could only return to darkness, then it would finally be peaceful and content. I will become the new moon, the answer to everything. Then, no one will know that there were once birds, foxes, and cats in this world. And no one can know that they were different.
We solved it!
I love fucking Kitty Scaramouche. That's ridiculous.
I remember now. This is not just the Balladeer story. It is his very own memories. I made a backup so that it would be preserved no matter what happened. To become a god, he was experimented on and modified countless times. It was brutal torture, and the only reason he was able to survive is that he was a puppet. This memory was extracted from him by the scholars. Presumably, they kept it to have something to defend themselves with. Creating a deity was just the first step. Some of them wanted to be able to control it. That's why they backed up his memory for later use. I buried it deep inside one of my own dreams, and then hid it inside an allegorical story so that it wouldn't be altered.
It's hard to believe that this person really existed, let alone that he tried to get rid of us on more than one occasion. Paimon has no memory of him at all. He completely vanished like a puff of smoke.
The Balladeer agreed to help me look for information about the Descenders, and although he was unsuccessful, he still helped you. Before he vanished, he confirmed an important detail, that Conria was where your twin first came into this world. We still don't know how the change to Irimsul will affect the senior ranks of the Fatui, but in all likelihood, they won't even remember their own Harbinger.
I've never had this feeling before. It feels like life is as significant as a feather.
It sounds like Paimon wouldn't like this guy a whole lot if he was still around. But still, Paimon doesn't like the way it all ended that much better.
This is why wisdom alone cannot answer all our questions. We look, we see, and we comprehend, but the question still troubles us. So the answer is not everything. People yearn to find the truth and then conquer the troubles they face. When you give someone the truth, you give them a chance to choose their own destiny. To others looking on, this may seem like a pointless endeavor, but for him, the chance to act on his desire to disappear must have meant a lot. Never forget that even when we walk beneath dark clouds along a road filled with suffering, the light of wisdom is always there, guiding us toward a better destination. And that is what you have been doing all along.
Yeah, Nahida's right. Cheer up! How about we go get something to eat? We can pick up this heavy conversation again later.
Good idea. Paimon, why don't you take her out for a walk to clear her head?
You got it! Come on, Traveler! You need to get out of your head for a while. You'll feel much better after taking a walk. Let's go get a snack from one of the stalls in the Grand Bazaar! That'll be sure to lift our spirits. It must be really tough being the only one who remembers all that. But Paimon's always here to help cheer you up.
There's a few things I'd like to look into. You should go take a walk and try to unwind.
Okay. Are we gonna see him now? We're gonna be like, hello, boy, you're back. Welcome back from the erasure. See, he Thanos snapped himself. Or something. Well, no, because it's fucking Thanos snapping. They always remembered.